All right, welcome to the next update. It's been a few days yet again for another update. I keep getting pulled in different directions. Recently, I decided to completely divest myself from the Axie ecosystem. They made an announcement which was going to, at face value, pretty much remove earning capacity for about 40% of my scholars. Anyone who's familiar with the Axie ecosystem, approximately if you're under 1200 MMR, your daily SLP earnings was about 100 SLP on average, which is about $1. The market has severely dropped in value for daily earning potentials, but they were also putting out a patch that in its current state, or at least in the state that I saw it 2 days ago, was that they were going to remove the ability for you to earn SLP. So they're trying to reduce the amount of production, earn the ability to earn SLP through both adventure mode and daily quests, which removes about 75 SLP. So for someone who's under 1200 MMR, we're talking about a 75 approximate percent average reduction in earning capacity. So I forecasted that that's going to be negative for the market. So unless they've made some other changes to, they seem to be running with the approach of we're just going to keep paying less SLP as the solution. And from my viewpoint, that's all they've been able to do over the last 6 months, and it hasn't really achieved anything. So I bailed out of that system, and that took me pretty much a whole day to go and sell all of my Axie NFTs, set up scholars on different games to help them keep earning income. And yeah, anyway, but look, I've been working on my games. There's some things I have been able to work on since the last update. I believe, was the leaderboard that's been implemented in the multiplayer capacity. Improved hitboxes around the fractals. So when fractals collide with water droplets and other players, it's more accurate now. Also have made it more completed recently. That is not recent. We've had a yellow fractal sprite since the beginning. So camera now works following the player around the map as they move around, whereas previously, as I've been testing, I've just had like a locked-in view of the Earth as players move around it. Also, the player versus player collision logic is now working correctly, so they are being updated correctly with the right points of each player to work out who should be dying. Presently, the kill command is being enacted by, both players collide with each other, and if you detect that your opponent has more points than you, your client does nothing. It doesn't send any data. It's just a stop, and you're just waiting there listening. And the player that's going to kill you actually sends a kill command to you. That triggers the sequence. And I'm also look into. I'm trying to improve how it feels from a network capacity. If you send a kill command, it means you have to bounce. You have to wait for 2 bounces of latency. So if I'm in Australia, someone else is in America, and we have, say, a 200 millisecond delay time, that's 0.2 seconds. So I send a kill message, and it takes 0.2 seconds for them to receive it, action it, and 0.2 seconds for me to see it. So if I bump into someone, it's like almost half a second before I see that they die. So from a network perspective, it works okay, but visually that can be quite clunky. So some mechanisms that I'm looking at to make it better, and I've already done this actually, at least for water droplets, is when you bump into the other player, you don't delete them from the network, but on your client, you make them invisible. So that's the sort of technique that I'm going with. And I hope it doesn't come with bugs. We'll find out that we can instantly see that the opponent has died, even though in the network they haven't died just yet. It just makes the game feel better. It's like smoke and mirrors with networking. It's a common sort of description of the whole solution. There's a lot of latency issues behind the scenes, but developers will try and make it look as seamless as possible with you on the front end. There is a delay for non-master clients in picking up water droplets. So that's actually what I was talking about, where I make water droplets on my client. I pick it up, I make them just disappear, even though technically the server doesn't know about the water droplets just yet being collected. Okay, so I've also come up with some big issues today, unfortunately. I'm going to build an example of where it's at. I hope it looks okay. I broke my project for the last 6 hours. I'll explain why in a sec. I'm just going to click build. I decided to get people testing it with me rather than me share exe files, which I don't know how to make people comfortable with me sharing exe files. I don't feel very comfortable with that option. So I was going to build the end game version of what I'm hoping to see. So I've mucked up my lighting and everything. I was hoping that I could then set up a website, which is similar to Mini Royale, just automatically loads in the web browser. But as I've been doing that, I've been coming across crazy errors that to me make no sense. And other people, the current Unity investigations in regards to this error for other people in other projects, in other situations I don't even share common ground with in Unity, as far as like what is causing their problem. But I'm getting this funky error that makes no sense to me. Null function or function signature mismatch, and that just simply searching for that. And the WASM is this WASM is the Web Unity Game Builder engine or compiler that allows your Unity game to be played in the browser. That specifically is what having these funky programming errors. And I've tried probably for the better part of 6 hours to get it working, and changing lighting, changing this, changing that, simplifying my game to try and see if anything fixes it. Because what I did ascertain is that if I simply created a new project with nothing in it but just a cube, I was able to compile it and put it into the web browser. So my next step here is unfortunately going to be a waste of time to a degree, but what I'm going to do is close this current project down, start again from scratch on the next more recent version of Unity, so like a month newer. I don't want to go back to the old version from 2020 that's considered LTS, long-term support, should be the most reliable, because I'm wanting to become more familiar with it's just my mental thing. I want to become more familiar with the new features, the new UI. I don't want to be stuck in the old stuff, but we'll see. I'm going to give it one shot, but I'm going to rebuild the whole project from scratch, refactor code, so just try and make things cleaner as I go through, understand it. I might stream it, I don't know, or at least record it, and just go through step by step how everything hangs together, and hopefully fix my lighting, because it's become very bizarre. But let's just open the game. So I'm going to run the game in my development IDE, internal development environment, which is the Unity development system, and then pick up some points. Now, oh yes, one other thing I've added in this release is now it zooms in, the camera zooming on the character, and as you click points, it's slowly panning out. It's a bit jittery, it's a bit interesting. I got to debug that as well at some point. And I'm noticing like drift. If I stop moving right now, the character's drifting, which is quite funny. I got to find out what code is looping to be triggering drift, but that's okay. I'll just go around simulating what's happening here. Not happening, I'll just play it out a little bit. So this is how I was intending for it to look. We go around these planets, getting larger and larger and larger, eating other players. It looks like my leaderboard's still working. It looks very ugly, obviously. That's the next sort of enhancements, just to work on UIs, implement the final planet, all the fractals, and also I've been working on, I really do need to log what I'm working on each day. I've been working on a Python JSON extractor to download the 100,000 fractals and all of their attributes, as well as mint address. So for the MVP project, I'm not wanting, I don't believe I'm going to get to the state that you can connect your wallet, not for MVP, by I think it's February 20th. I've only got, less than 2 weeks. I want to just work on gameplay experience and visual aesthetics initially, but I think I might be comfortable with just ingesting the whole 100,000 database. Oh yeah, if I quickly bump into this player, we should just simply consume him. I got an error. The object type. Yes, I've broken my game while recently trying to compile it in a web browser, because that was definitely working before, but nonetheless, you can see how the camera scrolling out now works. So, yeah, I've been working on downloading the full 100,000 database of all the fractals, and I'm thinking maybe on the home screen, rather than connect to lobby, or maybe we'll still leave that in for this MVP project so we can create custom servers and do little competitions or something. Allow you to, 1, create your username, 2, select a name of your fractal. So in your wallet, everyone's got a unique name, and that will be the index in my internal database that's stored in the game. And if you select that name, I will ingest those attributes into the player. And the game is going to be I imagine quite broken as far as balancing goes, but we'll just ingest those statistics in regards to your altitude, velocity, rotation, and just see how it plays in the game and try and balance it, tweak it over time, just have a bit of fun with it. You know, this is all just thought-provoking ideas on how the game can possibly work and how the fractals can work in mini games of different sorts. Yeah, look, I'm going to keep sipping my coffee, and that's probably the end of this update. I think I'm going to start recording this whole process of starting from the ground up. I might implement in phases, and every phase, previously I've been building and testing on the Windows version, but now I'm going to see if I can keep building, you know, every half hour, implement some changes, try and build the web version, make sure that I'm getting no errors, and just keep stepping along, and finally try and find out which part of my solution is coming up with this error, the error that seems nonsensical to me, and I'm not quite sure how to debug the cause just yet. So I feel like just going through in stages and continually compiling trial and error should get me there. I'm really stuttering on my words today. It's a common issue I have when I haven't had a proper night's sleep. So look, I'm going to get to it. Thanks for your time. Hopefully we can do some game testing soon. See ya.